Hey, Lakeview fam. So good to see everyone this morning. Excited to be with you. My name is Tim, and this is my beautiful wife, Stephanie, who also happens to be our resident and my favorite homeschool mom. So we thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different this week. I know a lot of us are stuck at home, and I also know that for the first time, a lot of you mommies and daddies are going to be homeschooling those kiddos. So Steph and I had this idea. What if we did a kind of a live Q&A with you, our Lakeview family, and this is obviously on the internet, so really it's with you, world. So I've got Stephanie here, but before we dive into the questions, I did ask you guys to submit them in advance, so I've got a nice handy dandy list of questions to get through. But before we get through all that, Stephanie, why don't you introduce yourself to us, maybe give us education background and your homeschooling experience so far.
Of course. So my name is Stephanie. I am the mom of 5 children. I graduated from USF. I started in elementary education, but had to move it to being a lit major. So I became a lit major because I had lots of kids, and I have been homeschooling my kids now for 7 years? Mm-hmm. 7 years now. So that's quite a bit of homeschooling.
So between all the kids, I think we did the math, and you have about 16 school years of homeschooling under your belt.
Yes, if you're talking each individual grade. So yeah, it'd be something like that. Math is fun. But yeah, so I've been homeschooling for quite a while. Now I want to let you know, so our homeschooling, I'm not a full-time homeschool mom. I'm what is called a part-time homeschool mom. Our children attend a school in Safety Harbor, Florida, where it's a community school and private school. So they also have 2 days of homeschooling. So they attend school 3 days a week, and 2 of those and 2 extra days are homeschool days. And so on Mondays and Wednesdays, I homeschool the kids at home, and the other days they are attending school. And I am used to homeschooling them just the 2 days a week. So this is everything that's going on right now. It's still kind of new to me too. I am not used to homeschooling full time. But I feel like I do have a lot of tips and tricks up my sleeve just from the past 6 years or so. And another fun thing is that I'm actually homeschooling 4 grades at once right now. So that's
4 different grades.
Yeah, sorry, 4 separate grades at once right now. So it's a lot. And it's fun. And I thought maybe I could share some of my tips and tricks and answer your questions on how to make homeschool a little bit more fun, easy for you to finally, now that you're jumping in head first and it's crazy. So maybe if I could just help a little bit, I'd love to be an encouragement to you. I'd love to be encouragement to this community.
Sure.
And I just want to be able to let you benefit off of my past mistakes and hopefully learn something.
Yeah, I think that's the heart behind this whole idea was how can we help you? How can we resource you, Lakeview family, and really anybody who's watching or listening? We want to be there for you. We're in this together.
Totally.
Like that's what we've been saying since the beginning of this whole coronavirus outbreak, that we're not doing this alone. We're in this together.
Yeah.
So are you ready to dive in?
Totally. I've been getting lots of questions. Okay. Actually, I get lots of questions all throughout the year. So they have been pouring in over these last couple of weeks with moms getting news that they're going to be homeschooling their kids. So I figured something like this would be an easy way for me to share it with everybody that we're not answering.
Another thing you did that I thought was really awesome was you actually texted all of your homeschool mom friends. So this isn't just from the brain of Stephanie Miller. This is a collection of homeschool moms who are doing
I am not for any reason going to sit here and say I'm an expert, because I am not an expert. I don't even think the word expert exists when it comes to homeschooling because of how different every student is. But I have spoken to a lot of homeschool moms, most who have been homeschooling way longer than I have, and they have just shared their wisdom with me, and they've been pouring into me for years, and I've just taken a lot of what they've taught me, and I'm hopefully going to get to share it with all of you.
I love everything. Let's dive in. All right, first question on the docket. How should we start the day, and how do you stay on track? And let me just put a disclaimer here. I have no idea how she does what she does. Seriously. I come home and she's rocking and rolling. Usually you're tag teaming and I'm tagging in at that point. So how does this work throughout the day? How do you start the day? How do you stay on track?
Well, I just spoke to my friend Holly, who reminded me of something that I always forget, which I wish I would remember more often. But she said the days are so much better when you begin it with prayer and sitting your students down and just praying over them, praying with them, because it really sets a tone for how the day should go. Setting the tone for this is a day that's special. And we need to just be thankful for what we're doing and maybe help mom stay a little sane by seeing how important it is to her because she is praying over the situation. So definitely begin and bathe your day in prayer. And it's something I forget, honestly, a lot. And it's a great reminder. So other than starting your day with prayer, it's another thing to be super organized. I know organization is really hard for a lot of moms, especially with all the craziness going on right now. But I like to take the time the night before and kind of plan out our day. So if I sit down the night before and just kind of plan out how tomorrow's going to go, who am I working with? What do they need to get done? List all the tasks. I'm spoiled because our school, because we do homeschool days a couple days a week, we're already kind of set up with a good homeschool system. So I recommend, this is just an example of something that we get from our school, but you can totally make it yourself. So this is a lesson plan. This is a 3rd grade lesson plan. And basically it just writes out, hey, this is Tuesday, this is Thursday, we have them for Monday and Wednesday. This is what your student needs to get done. And this is when it needs to be done by. So it's super helpful to have these written out for each kid. So I have one for preschool, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 5th grade. Those are the grades my kids are in. And it's so helpful to just be prepared and to know what you're going to be doing. That way you're not scrambling. Oh, did I forget this? Oh, did I forget that? And I especially need to remember this time because this is new for us. Our kids have to check in virtually with their teacher each day. Right. So I make sure to write that in. Check in with your teacher this time or before this time. That way it's not something else that you'll just forget and have to remember at last minute.
That's good. If you're just joining us, just want to make sure you know who we are. My name's Tim. I'm the lead pastor of Lakeview Church. This is my wife, Stephanie. She will not call herself a homeschooling expert, but I would consider herself a homeschooling pro. We're fielding questions, many that we've been getting all throughout the week. You got a lot on Monday. And so I know that's because many of them are starting homeschool like now, like they're in the thick of it right now. So let's keep going with our questions here. How about this? This is new for us. Should we try to set up the homeschool day like a typical school day? Good question.
It's a great question. I actually have friends who have said that they've tried to do it like a typical school day, but you have to remember this is not a typical school day. This is not a typical time. It's important for kids to understand that this is a special time. It's different and it's going to look different. You don't have to recreate school because it'd be just confusing for my kids to try and recreate something that obviously is not happening. No, you need to make it your own. This is a special time at home, a time that I know it's crazy and I know it's scary, but we should probably be thankful for, because how often are you going to get to pour into your child's education like you are right now? So make it your own. Don't do what the teacher does because maybe that actually doesn't work best for your kids. I've noticed with a lot of parents who go from public school to homeschooling that their child was struggling in a subject, but because you know your child and you know their learning style, you can better help and educate your child because you know their learning style. So if your child is struggling in math and you're like, okay, this is the way his teacher is doing it, maybe I should try something different. Let's do math outside today. Yeah. Let's not sit here with a book in front of our face and charts in front of us. Let's go out and let's do it outside, maybe change the scenery a little bit.
That's good.
Yeah, same, any subject really. I mean, just change it up. I know that for a lot of homeschool parents, the kitchen is where science takes place. So no matter what the project, science is taking place in the kitchen, whether it's following a recipe, building a volcano. It can be fun. So change it up a little bit. Change it up each day. That way you're not getting brought down with the mundane. Just try to do different things and make it fun for your kid.
That's good. I've got another one here. It says, I have no teaching background. Can I do this? I don't feel equipped. It sounds like this person might be sinking a bit. What can we do here?
Yes. So
first of all, Stephanie, have you ever been there?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like I live there. So yes, I feel ill-equipped all the time. I feel like this is not where I should be. This is not what I should be doing, but obviously God put me here for some crazy reason. No. So every seasoned homeschooler doubts their capabilities all the time. Like it's so common. What's important to know is that you are not alone. You're not the only one doing this right now. There are so many people in the boat with you. And you're not expected to do it on your own. It takes a village. So some recommendations I have when you feel like you're drowning during a homeschool day, your kids are whining, they're screaming, this one doesn't want to do math and this one doesn't want to do their handwriting, take a break. You have the ability to just stop it. You have the ability to stop, take a break, take a mom break. There's been so many times where I'm like, you know what? I just can't handle this right now. I'm going to go soak in the bath and you guys are just going to chill. And then we'll start this again when we're ready after we've calmed down a little bit. So you actually have the freedom to do that. It might extend your homeschool day a little bit, but you still get those breaks in between, which is so healthy. And it'll help you emotionally and mentally. That way you're not trying to get everything done in a certain amount of time, because honestly, homeschool starting from beginning to end, no matter what grade, should not take the entire day. You just need to set it out piece by piece, what works for you, what works for your kid, and just take those breaks because we all need them, you and your student both.
Well, that's good. Dads, I think this is where we can come into play. If you're not homeschooling, you could just go in and really wreck the place. Is that good for dads to just come in? Because sometimes on lunch breaks, I'll come home and it's like worst possible timing ever. So
yeah, no, it happens quite often, actually. Daddy always knows how to come in and start
Speaking of fun dads, how do we keep it fun when they would rather be playing video games or Zooming their friends? Zoom is where it's at right now.
Apparently, it's the cool thing during this quarantine.
All right, so how do we keep it fun?
Keep it fun. You change it up. Make it fun for your kid. I like to use manipulatives when I'm doing school, especially with younger kids.
I don't know what that means.
So manipulatives are things like this. For example, I've got a preschooler who's learning to count.
Those are manipulatives?
These are manipulatives. So a preschooler who's learning to count.
You have used that word for so long, and I just kind of nodded like
they're basically hands-on things. So you've got a 4 or 5-year-old who's learning to count. Here, let me get it right. Camera view.
Them. Yeah.
Use some counting bears. They're cute. They're fun. You can create patterns. You can count with them. My little 5-year-old Lucy absolutely loves them. She loves to do her ABC patterns. She likes to count them. You can do little stories with them. So like she likes to say, hey, 3 bears went to the swimming pool, but 2 of them got quarantined. So 3 minus 2 is what? And we just count them.
You just had like
We've never actually had to quarantine bears before.
You just had like a Mr. Rogers moment there.
No, we can totally start showing the kids we have to quarantine our bears because, social distancing.
You've been teaching the kids social distancing?
I should.
I'm so proud of you.
So use manipulatives, make it fun. I know when it comes to writing their letters, a really fun thing that moms in our school like to do is pull out the shaving cream. If you don't have shaving cream, pull out the Cool Whip.
Don't know what that is.
Stop it. Pull out the Cool Whip, put it on the counter, make it fun, make it messy. Sometimes messy sounds like work, but actually it's going to make the workload easier because your kids are having fun with it and actually learning. Go outside, use chalk on everything, paint on things. They don't have to sit there and use their fingers and look at the papers. They can use fun things. Another thing is I have a 2nd grader right now who's learning time. She doesn't want to sit there and look at the paper and look at the clock. She'd rather play with this guy because this guy's fun and she can move it around. So guys, this is super cheap. You can get them on Amazon, Target, whatever. You don't want to go into the stores, but maybe if you get them, order them now before Amazon stops shipping things.
Yeah, they might have actually already done that.
So if you don't have it, make your own. Have your kid draw one and use toothpicks or leaves. I don't know, make one out of dirt. It just makes it more fun.
You've made clocks out of dirt?
You can draw it in the sand.
That's like a sundial.
Yeah, like have fun with it. Like make it interesting because the kids will remember that. And they're not going to remember the picture sitting on the,
Agreed.
the worksheet.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. How do you, and is this the most asked question? Yeah, this is it. All right,
Yes.
this is the number one question that's been submitted. How do you homeschool multiple grades? Do you do it one at a time? Do you overlap and work with more than one at a time? Stephanie Miller, teach us your ways. Multiple kids.
Okay.
Go.
So this one takes time. You're obviously not going to master this ever, but you're not going to master this in the beginning. You need to see what works for each kid. So I overlap a ton. I have a 5th grader and a 3rd grader who can do a lot of things on their own. They don't need my help. So I have them go to a room together. They do their math so I can work one-on-one with my 2nd grader with her math. If they have questions, they come and ask me. But I'm working one-on-one with the one who needs the most help in that subject. I try to do all the subjects at the same time. That way, when everyone's done with math, we can take a break and move to the next thing. But it doesn't have to work that way. Maybe your kid is super good at math. I have a 3rd grader who's amazing at math and he gets it done super, super fast. So after he's done with that, he starts on handwriting while the other 2 are finishing their math. So I definitely overlap, but I make sure I give that special one-on-one attention to the kid who needs it the most during that subject.
Okay.
When it comes to grammar, all of my kids have to have me help with grammar because it's one of those things where I talk, they respond, and it's a give and take grammar lesson. So I have to set aside time where if they're working on stuff that they can handle by themselves, I'll do a grammar lesson with this one while this one can do handwriting.
No,
so
that's
it's
good.
really just figuring out your schedule and figuring out what your student needs the most help with and what they need you there for.
No, that's good. By far the most asked question, but we have just 2 more. And then a couple of my kids wanted to give some advice to your kids. So in a second, gather your kids around because a couple of my kids are going to give your kids some homeschool kid pro tips. How about this? Do you have a secret to encourage your kids to get their work done? Get it done.
I do have a secret.
You do?
And
let's hear it.
Yes. So my secret to getting the kids to get their work done is snacks.
Food
It
is good.
sounds simple,
No, food is good.
but it is, and it works. So we start homeschool after breakfast. Yes, they just ate breakfast, but guess what? They're still hungry because they're kids or hobbits. I don't know at this point.
Both.
But they don't stop eating. So the rule is they cannot eat while they're doing work. It's distracting. It's messy. We don't need like goldfish and Cheeto hands on any kind of like things we have to turn into the teacher because that's embarrassing.
Yep.
But if I say, hey, yeah, you can have those orange slices as soon as you're done with your math, my son will get his math done immediately so he can get those orange slices. I don't know if you'd call it bribery, but it's more like, hey, finish this. I don't bribe them with like candy or chocolate. It's always just normal snacks.
That's
yeah,
fine.
sure. Have a handful of goldfish, but finish your handwriting first. And believe it or not, it works. Like, even if they have like something fun they're looking forward to doing at the end of the day, it's like, yes, I'd love to do that with you. Let's do it and not have to worry about school. So let's get it over with.
Yeah.
So just give them something to look forward to. Give them something to just that they've been wanting to do. Maybe they're excited about getting to science. We'll put that science lesson last so that way they get everything else done first. So
Smart.
whatever it is that they're looking forward to, encourage them to finish I love this. So your little euphemism of eating the biggest frog. You take the biggest frog, the one that you don't want to do, eat
It's the
that
worst
frog
one.
first.
It's the worst. Frogs
Yeah.
are the worst.
Eat those frogs. Start with the biggest thing you don't want to get done and get it done because it's one more thing off your shoulders that you don't have to worry about and your kids don't have to worry about. So eat the frogs, biggest to smallest.
Eat
And
the frogs. Give them froggy snacks.
you're basically just babysitting Baby Yoda at this point.
Oh, Baby Yoda. He is the cutest. What's his name?
We don't know yet, but
Somebody knows.
no, he knows. The old CEO,
Old Bob Iger.
Bob Iger, knows.
Bob, if you're watching and wouldn't mind telling us the name of Baby Yoda,
What's his name?
we'd love it. Okay, how about this? So you've been homeschooling for many years, and throughout those years, we've had many kids, and people often say, Tim and Steph, do you know what causes that? And typically our response is, yes, we do, and we're not willing to give that up.
Not anytime soon.
So we've had a lot of kids, which means there are times when you are homeschooling kids and there are younger siblings who are not being homeschooled. So our question here is, how do you keep the younger kids occupied while the older ones are doing school?
Yes.
Yikes.
It sounds so. It's really not as crazy as it seems. The kids the younger kids want to be doing what the older kids are doing most of the time. At least 90% of the time, my 3-year-old wants to homeschool. She wants to be doing school too. Obviously, I've got a lot of homeschool going on. I can't really give her that attention she needs at that point.
Avery is 3.
What
Sorry.
did I say?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you said you're
she's
3-year-old. I just realized that Avery is 3 years old.
So the 3-year-old wants to do homeschool. So what do? I pull out the manipulatives and I give her some bears. What 3-year-old doesn't want to play with bears?
Manipulatives. I cannot believe I didn't know what that meant.
So I get out fun stuff and make her think that she's doing school too. I will put her on the ground with a handful of teddy bears and ask her to play with them, give them stories because she's seen her older sister Lucy do it. So she thinks, hey, I'm doing school too. I'll give her a crayon and some paper and say, can you please draw me that beautiful butterfly? And just give her things to do. And she's just excited to do it because she thinks she's learning too, which she probably is.
Totally.
Yeah. And then, of course, when all else fails, and I love nap time, so we probably save some of our more tedious subjects for when she's napping. Mm-hmm. But if you have an older kid who doesn't take naps, that's when I totally get screen time, but that might be a good time to bring out an educational screen time game. Pull out a game on the iPad or...
Is Nick Jr. and Peppa Pig considered educational?
I mean, at times.
I've learned a lot from Peppa.
Hey, our kids call flashlight torches, and I think it's adorable. So thank you, Peppa, because my kids have a better understanding culturally.
I love everything.
So yeah, it could totally be Peppa. I mean, we're not saints here, especially during this crazy time. But I mean, you can find some educational things.
Sure.
PBS Kids has some fun stuff. I mean, don't feel bad because you are doing something very important with the older kids. It's okay if the younger kid has a little bit of screen time or, sitting alongside of you. If I have to read a history lesson, I hand the 3-year-old a book and she thinks she's reading along in the history lesson too. She'll ask a lot of questions. It might be a little bit disrupting, but she's not screaming or crying or throwing a fit. And that's what is good there.
I like that you brought up the importance of what you're doing. Reminds me of a quote from a very famous pastor who said, oftentimes the most important thing you do in your life might not be something you do at all. It might be someone you raise. So I just thought that was a nice little nugget that fit in well. But we know you're probably in the middle of a homeschool day now and you took a break to watch this. So we want to encourage you to get back at it, to get in there. You're doing a great thing. Any parting words before we turn it over to our kids and let them give your kids some homeschool kid pro tips?
I mean, it takes a village. You're not going to master it. I haven't mastered it. There's no such thing as a homeschool master. Take it a day at a time. Get as organized as you possibly can. Make sure that your kids are having fun. And really, I think the most important thing is to not let it stress you out. If you miss a day, okay, no one's going to die. If you're just not having it and you're like, this is just not a day where I can homeschool, I'm not there emotionally, mentally, then take the day. No one says it has to be a Monday through Friday thing. If you are like struggling on Wednesday, take Wednesday off and then do it on Saturday instead. That's the amazingness of homeschool.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that. So one of the beautiful things about homeschool is it frees you up to do it on different days outside of what would be a normal school time. How many times have you come home from church on a Sunday and for whatever reason the kids say, hey, can I knock out some math? Like I have heard that in my house before.
Totally. So there might be days where the kids really don't want to do math. So we do it the day before and get it done over the weekend. There might be days where our kids really want to skip homeschool. Not really skipping homeschool, they're getting it done, but they'll want to skip a homeschool day and go to Disney. Can't do that right now.
Why did you bring that up? Now my heart hurts. This is my Disney knife that belongs to you.
So we would get homeschool done on the weekend. That way we can enjoy. I know, it's really sad. And that's another thing that's important too. I know we're all calling it homeschool because we're schooling at home, but this is not typical homeschool.
No.
This is isolation school. It is not homeschool because homeschool you get to leave.
Yeah, you're not trapped in a house all day.
No, you get to go to museums. You get to go to see art galleries. You get to walk outside. You get to see people and friends and other parents who might be better at this than you are.
You could homeschool at the beach.
Yes, I have friends who homeschool at the beach and they thrive on it because that's where their kids learn and love and are comfortable.
But you can't do that right now.
But you can't do it right now. So all those people, all of you who are like, oh, so this is what homeschool is like. No, this is not what typical homeschool is like. This is what isolation quarantine homeschool is like. And do not let it bring you down, because homeschool is amazing and it's fun and it gives you so much freedom as a parent. And this is not it. You're stuck inside and it's sad, and I'm sorry you have to experience it this way.
You are not alone. We're here for you. Lakeview's here for you. Lakeview fam, we love you. We're praying for you. So anything we can do to encourage you along the way, we're here. Shoot us a message. If you've got some other pro tips you think we need to let the peoples know about, let us know. We want to get the word out. Really, we want to be resourcing you during this time. I love that this time has sparked so much creativity in the church, and it's brought on so many great ideas. We can do stuff like this with you. So I hope you've enjoyed our first Q&A session.
Also, just to throw it in there, if you have any more questions or concerns, anything that you're struggling with, reach out to me, DM me, message me on Facebook. If you're not friends with me, request a friend. We'll be friends and we can talk and we can do this together. I'm happy to give you any resources I have. I'm happy to lend you virtual manipulatives. I mean, Pinterest is your best.
Stephanie will homeschool your kids.
No. No, I love you, but no, I have enough to homeschool. But I would love to help you virtually any way I can. Virtual manipulatives. Go on Pinterest. There's so many amazing things that are available to us right now.
Use your resources.
Use your resources. There's so many places offering free things to everyone right now. So take them up on that. Yep. Audible is free right now. If you just don't have
kids.
it, if you don't have it in you to read that book to your preschooler, let Alexa do it for you. She's good like that. She'll tell them all sorts of stories and they can just read along with her, and it's okay. It is okay.
Absolutely. All right. Hey guys, gather your kids around. We've got a special little homeschool kids pro tip just for your kids. If you got anything else, let us know. Otherwise, we're praying for you. You're not alone. We're in this together.
Do you know what the kids are saying?
I have an idea.
I don't know what the kids are saying. I hope it's good.
We'll find out.
Okay.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm in 5th grade. I'm the oldest of all of my siblings. I'm a homeschool child, and the most important thing you need to know is when you're homeschooling, not to bug your siblings when you're working. And then when you're working, don't let your siblings bug you. I know that homeschooling is new for a lot of you, and I'll be praying for you. Have fun.
Hi, I am Zoe, and I'm going to give you free advice. First one, focus on the first thing. Don't focus on the other thing. If you're doing math next, don't focus on that. If you're doing handwriting next and you're not good at writing cursively, don't focus on that. Okay. Second advice. Treat your parents like you treat your teacher. Pretend your parent or mom or dad is your teacher. Third advice, don't treat your parents badly. If someone was being mean to you, just ignore them. And don't tell your mom or dad that you want to stop doing it. Thanks. Bye.